What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I'm going to give you a good breakdown of what is happening with Lucid today, why it's going down as much as it is, and if it is justified or not. So I'm going to touch on that over and above the latest article about Lucid delivering to Saudi Arabia. So I want to talk on what that truly does mean for Lucid. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know, but first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get right to it. So looking at this intraday chart, it is very much scary and definitely not a very good way to start 2023. But there's a lot of different factors at play when it comes down to Lucid going down. A lot of people, for the most part, are blaming shorts, and that isn't necessarily the case. So I just want to give you a good breakdown of what they are doing right now. Short score is currently 85. Utilization is 100%, showing 100% of the available shares to short are currently out. And as of right now, shorts are increasing 266,000 shares. So definitely not a lot by any means, not enough to move it down roughly about almost 10% today. So I think behind the scenes, a lot of people are very much just used to blaming shorts for absolutely everything, but they aren't necessarily the culprit today, even though there is 162.32 million shares being shorted, which works out to be 25.06%. So there's a lot of shares being shorted right now, which works out to be, I think it is $1.11 billion worth. So behind the scenes, there's a lot of big shorting happening, but they aren't necessarily the culprit today. Today, it is largely because of Tesla and Elon. So they did come out with their Q4 numbers, both production and delivery. They did miss the mark by roughly about 20,000. So because of that justification, even though it did go up on an annual basis, 47% for production, 40% for deliveries, but because of that miss from an analyst expectations, there is now a demand problem. And for those of you that do watch my channel, I did do a video roughly about 11 days ago on that exact same topic, where I do say, will Lucid follow Tesla's problems? And in this video, I say that Tesla has a demand problem, on which I cite that the fact that Tesla is now doubling the year-end discount to $7,500, because as I always say, and I will continue to say, no company will ever offer a discount unless there is an issue behind the scenes. And so that's just plain and simple. Some people might really justify that, even in Lucid's case, them offering all of a sudden in Q4 that employee discount. That is complete BS. I will call every company out if I do see BS. Plain and simple. That's why I always like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you're looking for a channel that likes to just sugarcoat things and just give you all sunshine and roses, unfortunately, this isn't the channel. I like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes people just can't handle the ugly. It's plain and simple. But definitely there was a very notable demand problem with Tesla, and Lucid does have a problem, but isn't necessarily the same one that Tesla is having. Lucid does have a very good product, very good performance range and various things, but right now Lucid is in its first year of production, so they're trying to find what works and what doesn't work. So in my opinion, I still stand by my stance that the Air Grand Touring is a little bit more of a failure coming from Lucid. Some of you might disagree, but I think based on all the stats out there and them offering employee discounts on that Air Grand Touring and just everything revolving around Air Grand Touring offering immediate discounts, it's just a very big red flag. So once again, Lucid is trying to find what works and what doesn't work. Of course, the market really does want a lower price vehicle, such as the Pure. In my opinion, I think the market still wants a lower priced vehicle further than the Pure, but right now this is what Lucid can offer. So I think right now for 2023 and onward, it should be good as they move from the Pure to the Gravity, but the Air Grand Touring I think is a little bit more of a miss, and I'll be very interested to see how Peter and Sherry do try and twist that issue potentially as a positive, as they always do in the upcoming Q4 earnings. So that's just my thoughts. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I'm just going to pop this open as well so you guys can see exactly what is happening to both Tesla and Lucid. So right now Tesla is down 14.5%, Lucid is down almost 9.5%. So as I always say as well, whatever happens to Tesla, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it does trickle down to Lucid. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. One positive thing about Lucid is there's currently 20 million shares being traded, so we are already above our average, and there's roughly about 3 hours left in the trading day. But beside all of that fun jazz, I just want to talk on this latest article that did come out saying that Lucid is now officially delivering their Dream Editions to Saudi Arabia. And this news did come out roughly about 2 weeks ago, and that was to Europe. So definitely that was a very positive thing. It goes to show that they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. But in this case, I know this is still a very much positive, so I don't want to take away from that. But you know me, as I always say, I like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and often play devil's advocate. One thing that is going to really work against Lucid, maybe, obviously just maybe, is reading here. It looks like it did start on January the 1st. So technically not within that Q4, even though the European ones only did roughly about 2 or 3 days before the tail end of the year. This one was definitely after the mark. So I don't know how analysts are really going to see that or interpret that technically that aspect was a miss. But once again, I think this is a very good transition into the right area and definitely going to be a very positive thing for Lucid once it does have that word of mouth and it obviously spreads. More Lucid Airs that are driving around Saudi Arabia, Europe, North America, the more people are going to be wanting to talk, especially with that lower price Pure. I think that's just going to expand so much faster with the marketing aspect. Although, based on what people have told me in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if the Pure is going to be as successful. I think in reality, the Saudi Arabia individuals might want a little bit more of a higher priced vehicle. I'm not really sure. Maybe they are in the realm of buying Sapphires. I'm not really sure at this stage in the game, but this is what based on people in Saudi Arabia have told me and what they are really looking at. They don't necessarily want lower price or cheap looking vehicles or whatever it is. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. It is very interesting to see that as soon as Tesla comes out with these numbers, you see GM. And as I've said in the past, I really think that GM is going to do a lot of good things. And in reality, they might also be a very big force to be reckoned with for Lucid in the short term as well, whether it be 2025 or onwards. And it does look like GM did recently say that they're going to be able to take on Tesla by 2025, or at least catch up to them. So I personally want Lucid to be in the same boat, where it be GM, Tesla, and also Lucid competing for the top spot. Lucid does have everything fundamentally to do that. The only thing that they do have an issue with is production and finding the right niche for their market. Because as I've said in the past, they do have a fairly good competitive advantage over the other EV automakers as far as technology, range, and things like that. So Lucid really needs to ramp up on production and take advantage of this technology advantage while they'll still have it, because GM has been really investing a ton of money in LiDAR and basically the same technology that Lucid has. GM is going to incorporate that, I believe it is 2024 and onwards. So definitely Lucid might be losing that competitive advantage in the short term, but right now Lucid really needs to pump out those vehicles as fast as possible. But regardless of all of that, looking on the actual technicals, Lucid did erase the 3 days of green that it did have. Stochastic is currently at 13, so back to being very much oversold, and it did also erase that bullish sentiment that was right here as well. Momentum, number of retail investors are getting out. So at the end of the day, I think the sentiment behind Lucid is just very much negative, because everyone wants their stock in one way or another to hold gains. And I think a lot of EVs in general have just been hit, whether it be because of a very much impending recession. And of course, a lot of people, when they're still talking about recession, they're talking about great recessions and things like that, of those sorts. So in general, I think a lot of retail is very much scared right now. RSI is currently at 25, and on the actual chart, we're back to being in no man's land. So as far as the next big support and resistance range, it's really hard to tell at this stage in the game, especially right now. The only thing that we do know is actually, I believe we did hit a new 52-week low today. I'll just double check quickly right here. And it looks like the price range 52-week low, $6.18, and today is $6.16. So yes, today was another 52-week low. So unfortunately, it does suck in that regard, that every single day seems to be a new 52-week low. And I also did do a video on if it does get to around the $5 range, as appealing as that sounds to really buy that dip, that is when it really does get scary for Lucid because of its huge amount of institutional presence, both on ETFs and just general institutions. So definitely that is a very scary mark. So I think in general, some takeaways are that Tesla does have a little bit more of a potential issue at hand, whether it be because of Elon trying to do too many things. But right now, Lucid's issue isn't necessarily the same as Tesla's. So I think the fact that it is going down as much as it is very just unjustified. And again, you could take advantage of those dips and buy it, but potentially based on the trend, who knows where it will land at this stage in the game. All I know is Q2 and onwards, this is where I think Lucid will be making significant gains because the pier will be fully in function and really being pumped out at its full capacity. And hopefully at that stage, Lucid will have kind of gotten rid of all the issues that it's been dealing with over the last little bit. But with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciated. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.